This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Okay, para dito sa ating episode na to, we are going to go to a very dramatic event for the 21st century. At ito po yung pirmahan ng kasunduan ng Iran at yung P+1. Ano? Ito pong P5+1. At itong basically between the US and Iran, basically. Ano? At nagkasundo po sila. Parang yung sinasabi nating asot pusa, nagkasundo. And for us analysts, our analyst Hiro Vaswani, business forensic process analyst, and Professor Richard Javad Heydarian, geopolitical analyst, ito ay napakalaking bagay na sana ang Pilipinas ay makikinabang, ngunit napakaraming limitasyon dito sa Pilipinas. Una-una, kakulangan ng kaalaman ng mga Pilipino tungkol dito. At pangalawa, yung mga limitasyon sa ating foreign policy. Pero isipin po ninyo, ang Iran ay 80 milyong mamamayan. Am I correct? More or less, between 17 and 80. Ang Pilipinas, 100 milyong mamamayan. Ano? Ngunit, ang Iran ay umuupo katapat ang P5+1 and yung Estados Unidos, at ang Pilipinas naman walang papel sa mundo. Ano? Now, we are going to discuss the significance of this deal between the US, the P5+1, and Iran. Anong implikasyon sa mundo? Bakit excited ang mga geopolitical analysts po rito? And bakit dito sa Pilipinas napakaliit ang pagkaunawa dito sa pangyayaring ito? So, very quickly, let's get a summary from Richard, who is Iranian Filipino, so that's why we always invite him also for this aspect. No? And then Hiro Vaswani, who is Filipino-Indian. We have a Spanish Filipino there and a Chinese Filipino here. Always international. But later on the Tisoy, you will watch about electricity again. Pero Richard, give us in a nutshell, why is this so exciting? Itong kasunduan ng Iran at the US with the P5+1.
Alright, bilang Filipino, no?
Yes,
Ito yung analysis ko. Well, I mean, first of all, pinapakita niya na diplomacy works. No? I mean, you're talking about two countries, two powers, US and Iran, na 3 dekada nag-aaway sila. No? They're ideological adversaries. They have been competing for power in the Middle East.
Tsaka talagang yung conflict na yan, physical, through proxy war.
Proxy
Iran,
wars. Parang Soviet
Iraq,
Union and US during Cold War. No? So diplomacy works. For the last 2 years, John Kerry particularly, and of course Javad Zarif, the counterpart in Iran, na American educated actually siya, they were able to really break it down.
Are you sending a message to B.S. Aquino in Malacanang and to Department of Foreign Affairs Secretary Albert Del Rosario?
I mean, generally, ang paniniwala ko ay there's no dead end in diplomacy. No? Diplomacy will work if you invest in it. Sabi nga nila, if there's a will, there's a way. And that shows, especially if on both sides, meron kang mga moderate, level-headed people. So in the case of US, wala ka ng Bush administration, mga fanatics. In the level of Iran, meron kang very pragmatic, centrist government also, na na-elect 2 years ago. So nag-usap sila at finally, they have deal. Ngayon, anong relevance ng deal? Una-una, symbolically it proves na mahalagang diplomasya at gumagana siya kung meron ka talaga will. Pangalawa, this is the most important non-proliferation agreement. Sinisigurado na itong agreement na ang Iran ay mag-stick purely to peaceful civilian program. Of course, argumento
Sa
ng Iran,
nuclear development.
argumento ng Iran never naging non-peaceful. But of course, sinasabi ng West baka may non-peaceful aspects. But through this agreement, sisiguraduhin natin na ang Iran purely peaceful civilian yung program nila. So we are making sure that hindi mangyaring nangyari sa North
So
Korea.
ang ibig ba sabihin nito ay talagang kapayapaan na ang iiral sa gitnaang silangan, Middle East?
Well, ganito kasi, Middle East, napakagulo. Ang dami ng problema. Kaya nga sinasabi ng Obama at ibang world powers, the last thing we need ay isa pang gyera. At ang Iran, hindi to Iraq or Afghanistan. Isa siyang talagang malaking bansa at mapuwersa siya. So kung, God forbid, nagkaroon ng war between US and Iran, you could imagine a terrible apocalyptic situation. Not to mention, actually ang Iran, isa siyang Shia country. Shia ay parang mga Protestant sa Islam. Kalaban nila yung ISIS. No? So nagkaroon ng tactical alliance actually between Iran and US laban sa ISIS. At ngayon, kung titignan mo yung Middle East, sino unang kalaban ng lahat? Ng Kristiyano, ng Muslim, ng Shias, lahat ay mga ISIS. Okay. So this is also about making sure that two countries that are actually allied in a common fight against a common enemy in the Middle East will come together. Okay. And then, most importantly, ang Iran ay pinakamalaking combined reserves of oil and gas. Isa siya sa pinaka-developed emerging markets. So yung pagbabalik ng Iran sa international markets ay magkaroon ng huge impact. So good yun for us drivers and commuters. Bababa lalo yung prices of oil and gas because of Iran. And of course, it also opens up business opportunities. Not only for the West, but also for us in the Philippines.
Lahat ng mga bansa sa Europa at sa silangan, tinitingnan ito bilang oportunidad na magbenta sa 80 milyones na market, merkado ng Iran. Europa to sell cars and so on and so forth. Bakit there is no excitement in the Philippines na makinabang dito sa pagbukas nitong merkadong ito o itong supply na karagdagang supply ng langis at mga natural gas, di ba?
Right. Ang sense ko sa gobyerno natin is dahil dati, may problema pa rin ng US at Iran, pero ngayon medyo mas okay yung situation sa kanila. Medyo alanganin tayo doon eh. Nagkaroon ng problema yung dalawa, nagkaroon ng sanctions, lumayo tayo. Which for me, hindi siya ganun optimal strategy. Kasi yung Japan at Korea, aliado din sila ni US, pero never sila nag-stop ng buying oil and having trade with Iran. Pero ngayon, na medyo mas okay yung relasyon between US and Iran, I hope yung gobyerno natin mag-isip talaga ng paano tayo magbukas ng trade relations with Iran. So, pwede tayo bumili ng oil and gas, pero pwede tayo mag-export sa kanila ng banana, agricultural products, semiconductors.
That's right.
And this is a relatively rich country. Per capita, $16,000 in purchasing power parity. So, Iran is even richer than Malaysia and many emerging markets.
Let's go to Hiro. Ano bang purchasing, what do you call it, per capita income ng Pilipino?
In purchasing power parity.
Sa Pilipinas, $2,000?
Less than 3,000.
So let's say 2,000. Ang Iran, sabi mo, magkano
Now,
per capita?
in purchasing power parity, the Philippines is around 5,000. Iran is 16,000.
16,000.
So, three times.
So marami tayong mabebenta sana doon, no?
Medyo,
Hiro, anong leksyon sa atin? Can we buy cheaper oil from Iran? Because I know Iran has in stock in their oil tankers parked out at sea, 100 billion to 150 billion barrels of oil. Is that correct?
More
or less,
4 times that. Yeah.
Anong opportunity natin dyan? But before that, if you wish, give us a summary of your view of what happened sa deal na to.
I think it is really a game changer for the world. The Pope said that the conflicts in the Middle East is actually a piecemeal Third World War. On top of that, if the Iranians actually developed a nuclear device, that would create circumstances that would call for essentially a very serious armed conflict in that region.
You know, I take a different view. I've always said that if Iran finally got a device, then peace will reign because matatakot ng Israel, matatakot ng US, hindi na sasalakayin ng Iran, but that's another debate.
Again, proliferation of weapons of mass destruction in a very volatile area is nuts. And I think this deal basically, which gives Iran a breathing space and the West of 10 to 15 years, and then they will immediately drop all sanctions.
Okay. Tungo tayo doon sa tanong. paano tayo makikinabang dito sa, let's call it the peace dividend, in the Middle East?
First and foremost, the Philippines is not a major player in the international trading system.
Tama ba yan? Is that correct? Should we stay that way?
There are deep problems in the Philippines that prevent us from being a major player.
Name me one or two.
Essentially, we have never developed like Taiwan, South Korea, Japan.
Or even Iran, di ba?
Iran is completely way ahead in scientific and engineering skills. They build their own weaponry. They have the capacity, essentially, to build a nuclear device. And that is a very complicated process.
Pero dito, nalalagay tayo sa Guinness Book of Records para sa Zumba. Di ba? Ang galing natin eh.
Well,
Alam may tatapat ng iba sa Zumba natin? Ha?
Well, individually, Filipinos are talented, but acting as a group collectively, we have never essentially.
In other words, we need leadership to bring us to
a lot of problems, and one of the key solutions is leadership and key institutions, which we build our institutions on quicksand. The minute you build one, it immediately sinks under the weight. Because these are all human enterprises.
Ngayon, I have to move on because our time is limited. We have part 2 and part 3. So, nalulungkot ako kasi ang ganda ng oportunidad, ang naririnig ko lang, wala tayong pakinabang dito sa magandang nangyaring ito.
Well,
Richard,
para sa akin, the fact na wala na tayong extra giyera, no? It's good for us. We have 2.5 million OFWs doon sa Persian Gulf, di ba? God forbid, ang huli natin gusto mangyari, magkaroon ng giyera,
silver
apektado
lining.
silang lahat.
Okay, silver lining
so,
yan.
thank God, isa yun. And sabi ko nga, I mean, if Iran brings in all the oil, bababa lalo yung prices of oil. You're looking at below $50 per barrel.
Pero that's not anything that we have done. It's just that
we will benefit.
we will just benefit.
By virtue
Anong gagawin natin para mas lalong makinabang ang bayan?
Again, we have the road is long for the right policy framework for this country, and the first thing you have to do is you have to educate the people who run this country. Every 6 years we have a new leadership, etc., and it's the same. It's just musical chairs.
So maganda nga yung second part natin, yung State of the Nation Address, the foreign policy question. Kasi ito para sa ordinaryong Pilipino, parang ang Department of Foreign Affairs ay isang bagay na wala sa isip nila. Ang alam nila yung Department of Agriculture kasi yung rice nila, or the Department of Interior and Local Government, dahil yung mga police, kung anong problema sa police. So, foreign policy question ito.
Correct.
Any other reflection before we move on to our second part?
Marami tayong magagawa. I mean, Iran was one of the largest market for our banana exports, no? Siyempre, na-shrink yan.
It was.
Before sanctions, no? By some estimates, actually, umabot ng $600 million yung bilateral trade. Almost a billion, no? Noong 2011. Tapos biglang almost na-evaporate siya. So actually, we can go back and regain that.
Malaking bagay nga pala.
Kasi actually, ang style natin, our trade with Iran is trilateral. It goes to Dubai, and then from Dubai, it goes to Iran. Pero huge. So Iran is, I think, the largest market for our
Will you
top
be
agriculture.
one day appointed as our ambassador to Iran so we can develop this market?
Academic lang po ako, wala. So we can, and then of course the Iranians could invest in our energy sector or food security sector.
Or we can invest in Iran because they've been inviting investors to set up their own refinery there
of course.
para lalong mapamura ang import natin mula sa sariling refinery natin sa loob ng Iran. So many possibilities. Hiro, 30 seconds.
Again, state or government action here in the Philippines has always been wanting. I mean, our policy here is to essentially privatize everything that is there. So, for the state, the Philippine state, to react to such an event, it could take generations for them to even realize the opportunities.
Well,
there.
ang pakay natin, layunin natin sa diskusyon natin dito na hindi na umabot ng isa pang generation. We want to help educate the public so that the public can demand foreign policy leadership from our political leaders that is productive and beneficial to our nation. Okay, we're going to take this break. SONA, the foreign policy questions from our foreign policy experts.